A lot of people love 100%ing a game. You stuck with it, and it's incredibly satisfying. However, there are some games you are just not going to do this with. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, 10 big games you are least likely to 100%. Starting off with number 10, Halo the Master Chief Collection. Now, Halo games are already pretty tough to get 100% complete, but the Master Chief Collection takes things too far. We're talking about 700 achievements, total gamer score of 7,000. TrueAchievements.com estimates it takes around 300 to 400 hours to get all the achievements, but those numbers vary greatly depending on the quality of your team and your overall skill level. By far the hardest part in trying to get 100% completion for the Halo collection is the Lazo Master achievement, where you have to beat Halo 1, 2, 3, and 4 on Legendary with all the optional skulls activated. The skulls do things like take away your crosshairs, turn off shield regen, double enemies' health, stuff like that. Legendary's already no joke, but with these skulls activated, it's nearly impossible. And if you think that's bad, check this out. There's even one of those infuriating achievements where you have to kill a developer to get it, called Bite the Hand. Like, at least they let you kill somebody who already has the achievement too, which is already incredibly unlikely to happen in regular play. So you're pretty much forced to find somebody to help you get this one. Like, there's still a lot of people who have 100% of the game just because of how popular Halo is, but the level of dedication it takes is well beyond the abilities of the average gamer. I certainly don't have the patience for it. And video games take up, as you might understand from, me being a game commentator, a large part of my life. My tolerance threshold is probably higher than a lot of people. I do not have the patience for this. And number 9 is Monster Hunter World, already a pretty challenging game. Most of the achievements aren't that difficult, though. If you're willing to put some time in the grind, most of them you can do, but a few are brutally tedious. Especially the Gold Crown achievements. There's 2 of them, one for finding 10 monsters with miniature crowns, and one for finding 10 monsters with giant crowns. These crowns appear next to a monster's name if you manage to hunt a monster that's either very big or very small. And, it's completely random where they appear. Certain hunts gonna give you a better chance of finding max-size monsters, but it's never guaranteed. The game doesn't tell you if you found a gold crown monster until after the hunt's over, so basically you're forced to eyeball it to figure it out if they're big or small enough to count for the achievement. It's just a really annoying achievement, especially compared to all the other ones, which are fine. But all you really do is go into the known hunts that certain size monsters are more likely to appear and just start and stop them over and over until the size you actually need appears, which is not fun. The PSN Profiles Guide estimates it takes around 300 hours to get a platinum for this game, which isn't as bad as Halo, but it's a lot. And that's only the base game. That's not even factoring the Iceborne expansion. At number 8 is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Even though there are no trophies or achievements, Breath of the Wild still counts your completion, and if you want to get 100%, it takes a lot of work. Finding all the locations, completing all the shrines, taking out the divine beasts, only gets you 28% complete with this game. So, you want to get the other 72%, you got to collect a lot of Korok seeds. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. There's 900 of them in total. And if you want to get the possible upgrades that come with getting them, if you want to get all of them, that's only half of those. The remaining 450, just for completion's sake, nothing more. I get that if you have more of them, you increase the frequency the player is going to come across them. But talking about completionism, 450 useless Korok seeds is a lot. And the reward's kind of just a joke. You don't get anything. The only reason to do that, to get 100% completion, just for bragging rights. And that's why a lot of people don't bother, because life is short. And number 7 is The Last of Us. An interesting thing I found while exploring PSN profiles. In terms of completion of its achievements, one of the lowest games on the entire site is the original Last of Us for PlayStation 3. Its completion rating, which is the amount of achievements completed by the community, sits at 9%. That's not how many people have the platinum, that's how many achievements the entire community has completed total. For such a popular game, that's dismal. In comparison to a lot of the other games on this list, the actual achievements of themselves are not even that hard to get. It looks like most people who play the game just don't care about achievements, which I get it. It's a game about feel and narrative, but it's still kind of shocking. That doesn't mean that there aren't some really tough ones, though. There are. Getting the grounded achievement takes some pretty wild perseverance, because you hardly get any supplies on this difficulty. And the most time-consuming part of the whole thing is the multiplayer achievements. Yeah, a lot of people probably forgot this game even had multiplayer, but it exists, and it can still actually be played, at least at the time of this recording. To get the achievements, you gotta play a whole hell of a lot of multiplayer matches, at least 168, and that's if you do everything right. So, the game's not crazy difficult to get platinum on, but it's unlikely you'll ever get it, just because it seems not worth it enough to get people to bother. And number 6 is Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Out of the entire Call of Duty series, Black Ops 4 seems to have the fewest number of people that actually have completed it. Maybe chalk it up to being a little less popular or being mostly multiplayer focused, but out of the entire series, it's the game people just aren't 100% finishing. Most of the achievements aren't really anything too frustrating, but there are a few that are absolutely ridiculous. These two in particular, Zombie Fanatic and Blackout Historian. These unlocks are ludicrous, like full stop. To get Blackout Historian, you gotta unlock Woods by finding his bandana at the top of a random box. You have to fly a helicopter for a minute, win the match with the bandana in your inventory. Another unlocks Reznov, where you have to find a randomly spawning hat, kill an enemy from 200 meters or more, and then finish the match in the top 5 with the hat in your inventory. This is all during a battle royale game. I say that with some emphasis because you either need to be a master at the game or stupid lucky. Black Ops 4 is kind of the forgotten Call of Duty, but with achievements like this, maybe it kind of deserves to be forgotten. I don't really understand why they decided that this stuff was necessary to include. And number 5 is Grand Theft Auto 4, probably one of the most divisive games in the series. Some people love it, some don't. If you're going by achievement completion, you probably think people hate this game, because the completion rate sits at an abysmal 13% on PSN profiles. For how incredibly popular this series is, no one is taking the time to 100% this game. There is, of course, a reason for that. The single-player achievements are mostly pretty tolerable outside of the annoying pigeon hunt, but the multiplayer achievements are another story. There's one achievement that's so annoying to complete that this guide on PSN profiles dedicates an entire section just to talking about that and that alone. It's the Auf Wiedersehen Petrovic achievement, and the description sounds simple enough. You won in all variations of multiplayer games. But actually unlocking it's pretty painful. For whatever reason, what counts for this achievement is pretty vague. There's 108 different races alone, and on top of everything else, you can't just play these things. You gotta beat all of them. The game does nothing to track your progress, so all you can do is keep like a checklist and a futile attempt to try to remember what you have and haven't done already. And even if you do manage to win every possible event, sometimes the achievement doesn't trigger for a variety of reasons. GTA 5's online component's 100 times more complex and time-consuming, but so many people have managed to platinum that game. It goes to show you how annoying some of these achievements in GTA 4 actually are. At number 4 is Star Wars Battlefront. The first rebooted Battlefront game from 2015 was pretty popular in terms of adoption, and the achievements, most agree, probably aren't that hard to finish in comparison to a lot of the other games on this list, but it's got one of the lowest completion rates on the entire PSN network. Less than 1% of players have managed to platinum this game, and it's for a simple reason. The achievements are just grindy as hell. The worst are the ones involving player cooperation, which is a lot of them, because while the game still has a decent player base, getting people to play certain dead game modes can be pretty tough. One of the most annoying achievements to get is this one called Crush Them with One Swift Stroke, where you have to trample 25 soldiers with an ATST. Pure luck, this one. It takes forever to finally unlock. Battlefront's a really interesting game because it was hugely popular but didn't draw in like a hardcore crowd who loved getting achievements and trophies. If you're someone who's into getting 100% completion, this game actually isn't that hard to finish, but most people who played Battlefront just didn't care, like, at all. And number 3 is Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. Getting 100% completion in any Pokemon game is of course going to be a tedious experience, but Ruby and Sapphire go way beyond the normal tedium of catching them all into some kind of confusing nightmare. To really complete the game, you need to fill out the Pokedex, which doesn't just mean catching all the Pokemon. It means bringing all the other Pokemon for previous generations to fill in the blanks. So if you got a friend to help you out who's just as crazy about catching Pokemon as you, this process isn't too bad. But if you're on your own, things get complicated. To get every single Pokemon in the dex, you need at least a minimum copy of Ruby and Sapphire. Like I said, you got to have them both. The remade originals, Fire Red and Leaf Green. And on top of that, you need the GameCube Pokemon games just to get the rest. That means you don't need to just 100% one game to complete the Pokedex. At minimum, you got to get the remaining Pokemon in 4 other games. And most of the rarest ones really take some work to unlock. Getting 100% in this game is mostly just for bragging rights. Did they really have to make it this difficult? Some people say Diamond and Pearl are even worse, but the remakes, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, mix things up. It's kind of hard to say how bad those games really are. We know exactly what we're getting with Ruby and Sapphire. At number 2 is Gears 5. Gears series probably one of the best, but it's always been pretty brutal with achievements. First game had the Seriously achievement, where you had to kill 10,000 people in versus matches, and that looks quaint in comparison to what they cooked up for 5. To unlock the Seriously 5.0 achievement, you have to beat the campaign on insane difficulty, master all the horde and escape maps and characters, re-up 20 times, and get General in Tour. If you don't know, re-upping is when you have the max level multiplayer and then you start over. You got to do that 20 times just for the single part aspect component of one achievement, and it'll take hundreds of hours just to do that. Not a fun use of your time. And finally, number 1 is Just Cause 2, probably the most popular game in the series. The world's absolutely massive, so big that it's actually kind of a problem trying to get 100%. It's not possible. Like, if you're just playing the game normally, you genuinely can't get to 100%. The only way to do it is through bugs, glitches, and mods. Getting a platinum isn't impossible, because the game doesn't actually require you to completely clear out the map. But if you want to actually show the map as being 100% complete, it's incredibly difficult. Even crazier is that it's possible for the game to show 100% completion before you've actually gotten everything. Like, there's so many little things to destroy and collect that 99% of the game just rounds up. So it says you've done everything, but you haven't really done everything, so you're seeing a rounding error. That's the main problem, too. There's just so many random things to blow up and chests to open. There's no way to track them all in-game, especially since it doesn't, even notice that you haven't gotten 100%. Like, it requires just an insane amount of dedication to even get close to 100%. But to actually get it requires a level of obsession that's bordering on self-destructive. Like, put the game down. It's gonna be okay. And that's all for today. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. So click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications. And as always, thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcon the Hero. We'll see you next time right here on gameranx.